Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The pressure on our health system has been known for some time, but tonight there are new details on exactly how bad it's become. Official statistics just released confirm 3 out of 5 people presenting to the Royal Hobart Hospital's emergency department aren't being seen on time. Our political reporter Michelle Wisby has the full report.
Even though the struggles of our health system are widely known, today's statistics still come as a shock. They reveal on-time performance. The Royals ED has dropped by 13% in the last year. Only 39% of all patients were seen on time in March. The data shows it was the worst for Category 3 and 4 patients, which are described as having potentially life-threatening or serious conditions. The Health Minister, Michael Ferguson, saying hard-working staff are doing an incredible job under unprecedented increased demand. Late this afternoon, releasing a plan of attack as a result of a crisis meeting held last week. One of the immediate changes, all patients will be seen by a team member within half an hour of arrival. In the longer term, measures include developing an acute hospital in the home service and a new integrated approach to mental health. While there has been a focus on the Royal, the LGH is also under pressure. Only 64% of people were seen on time in March, while the North West Hospital did meet targets for on-time performance.
A 53-year-old man found guilty of murdering his housemate in 2016 will be handed his sentence in August. A 6-week trial found Darren Gale killed Noel Joseph Ingham and buried his headless body in a shallow grave. In sentencing submissions today, his lawyers said there was no evidence it was premeditated or intentional, seeking a short non-parole period given Gale's age. But the prosecutor said the nature of the murder pointed to hostility towards the deceased. Gale will be sentenced on August 2nd. A Launceston man has been winched to safety after he became disorientated in the Southwest National Park last night. A rescue helicopter was dispatched around 5:30 after an EPIRB was activated on the Mount Anne track. Crews soon found the 20-year-old man uninjured, flying him back to Hobart. Police today reminding bushwalkers to comply with all signage on tracks and carry appropriate equipment when walking. Country criminals hoping to escape the long arm of the law have been told to think again. More than a dozen officers today fanned out across Cressy in a bid to clamp down on rural offences.
Quiet Cressy goes into lockdown. On the ground, police block roads in and out of town as officers checked for drink drivers and canines tried to weed out drugs.
And we're also using the helicopter for general observation, but also in case we do need to conduct any pursuits or follows of anyone that may try to evade the police on the ground.
After similar operations in Launceston earlier this month, police are putting country criminals on notice.
We want the offenders in the area to think again if they think that, the middle of the day that they're safe to travel through the country areas.
Luckily, there weren't too many offenders lurking about on a sleepy Friday afternoon.
There's been a number of minor offences, but nothing major or of any great note.
Police are promising more lockdowns will follow. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are being urged to watch out for penguins because of unusual breeding habits this year. Bird watchers at colonies across the state are reporting an early start to the breeding season. BirdLife Tasmania says its surveys have found as much as 10% of burrows are occupied. It's urging people to be mindful of little penguins coming ashore and asking dog owners to take extra care near colonies. Parts of Tasmania are bracing for wet and windy conditions beginning tomorrow. A series of cold fronts will hit particularly in the northern part of the state. It's expected to bring strong winds, heavy rains and could cause flooding.
Around 60 to 80 millimetres about the north of the state, but the northwest highlands and higher ground about the west could see 150 millimetres plus.
And they say red sky in the morning, sailors warning. These pictures show the spectacular sunrise across the state in what could be an omen of the weather to come. These amazing scenes were sent in from Huonville, Smithton, St Mary's, Cressy and this beautiful site at Hawley. They're a species pushed to the edge by poaching and pollution. But now councils are joining the fight to save Tasmania's giant freshwater crayfish. And if you want to see just what's at stake, you'll have a rare chance for a first-hand look tomorrow.
At 23 years old, Lobby is just a young male in the prime of his life. But clawing his way to old age won't be easy for this creek-dwelling celebrity.
Partly because of overfishing and poaching, and partly because of habitat loss and destruction.
It's not known how many of the species remain in northern Tasmania's waterways, although some in fact live within Launceston's city limits.
We have giant freshwater crayfish in the St Pat's River and the Pipers River catchment, and we want people to come along and get to see one of these guys in the flesh.
So Lobby will be on display at tomorrow's Resilient Cities Symposium. The council is joining other agencies to protect habitat. Penalties for poaching the crayfish can exceed $8,000. So you can look, just don't touch.
And I reckon if you got your thumb caught in a large one, you might struggle to get it back out again.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmanian News.
She's only 5 years old, but Isla Wells has a fighting spirit, having endured more than a dozen life-saving surgeries in her young life. Now, a Tasmanian football team is rallying behind their spiritual champion by raising critical funds for her ongoing care.
She loves her footy, but young Isla Wells has played a far tougher game. She was born with Hobart syndrome, a genetic disorder causing the early fusion of the hands, feet and skull.
Isla has a lifetime of surgeries to correct her bones in her body.
Isla and her mother Kylie frequently travel to Melbourne for surgery, sometimes staying for weeks at a time. The huge financial burden on the single mother is made even harder because Hobart syndrome doesn't qualify for financial support.
It's not a recognised disability. Isla has a hearing problem as well. She can't get the Better Start program because she needs to have 65% hearing loss. Well, she's only got 50.
To help, South Launceston's women's team will be raising money for the Wells family during tomorrow's clash with Bridgenorth. You'd be hard pushed to find a more inspiring reason to play.
I think that'll be used in our pre-game hype-up. I think it'll be a massive part of what gets us up and about for the day, and I really hope that we can bring home the win for them.
As for Isla, who got a bit of a kick out of seeing herself on camera today, she'll be there cheering them on from the sidelines.
I am so grateful. It's going to take a lot of financial pressure off me. Being a single parent too with 2 kids, and it's going to be a massive help, massive help.
To show your support, you can head along to the clash from 4:30 tomorrow at Youngtown Oval. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
And Tasmania's unique produce has been celebrated once again on the world stage, with Grandview cheeses taking out the top 3 honours at the World Dairy Innovation Awards. The Birches Bay business won Best Cheese and Best Functional Dairy Awards at a ceremony in Portugal this week. Its distillery, Hartshorn, also coming in first in the Best Dairy Drink category for its Sheepway vodka, recognised for its dedication to sustainability and waste reduction.
Our spirits are made from the waste of our cheese, and then my waste from our gin actually is going back onto the outside of our cheese, the botanicals, and sort of going full circle with waste reduction.
He says it's the first time anyone has ever taken out all 3 of the top awards in one year. Riding a bike is considered a rite of passage for most children, but for many with special needs, it's an activity they miss out on. But more specialist bikes are becoming available in Tasmania thanks to a generous community donation to St Giles.
Young Willow enjoys the freedom of riding a bike.
It's really good.
However, she needs one fitted with specialist equipment, something which costs thousands of dollars. Willows and others at St Giles will now be able to enjoy it after receiving new custom-made machines.
Put a kid with disabilities on a bike and get them doing all the things that a kid without disabilities can do.
Freedom Wheels have supplied 180 bikes statewide. They aim to fill gaps where NDIS funding isn't available. Each has been designed to be flexible.
Thoracic supports so that they can get some support around the trunk if they're a bit wobbly in the trunk. We can put a tow handle on and we can put belts on.
More bikes made possible thanks to a donation of $1,500 from the Hobart Vintage Machinery Society. The profits from a Heritage Day they ran in March.
The little child on the bike, marvellous. So all those hot, sweaty days and everything else are well worth it at the end of it.
Staff at St Giles say it boosts morale.
It is therapeutic in that they have exercise which is fun, so it's really important that kids have the opportunity.
And the new bikes have received the tick of approval.
I don't fall over and I feel supported.
I've had some pretty rewarding jobs in my life. I've saved the best till last.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmanian News.
The Kingborough Tigers will be out to show they deserve to be there come finals time when they take on Premiership contender Glenorchy at home tomorrow. But the Pies are expected to come out firing following a disappointing loss to Lauderdale.
On track to play in September for the first time in the club's history, the Tigers coach says his players are unfazed by the external noise.
You don't want to be there making up the numbers, which is what people might say, that you're just making up the numbers. But we know we can compete with those teams. We've shown glimpses of it.
After easily accounting for Clarence, the test gets a lot tougher at the Twin Ovals tomorrow up against Glenorchy, a side the Tigers are yet to beat in Bamella's time as coach.
Them responding off a loss and that as well, so they're hungry too. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough challenge for us. Our next 3 games are Glenorchy, Lonnie and North Launceston all at home, so it's a really, really key 3 weeks for us.
Coming off the bye following a disappointing drubbing at the hands of North Launceston, the Blues are set to boast a full-strength squad for the first time this season and will be looking to close the gap on the top 3 sides with a percentage-boosting win over an out-of-sorts Roos.
They had a poor start to the game against the Tigers, which put them on the back foot, so we need to start well on the weekend on our home track and make sure we get some momentum going into the first quarter and second quarter.
Tom Cooper, 7 Tasmanian News.
Baseball could be making its way to the state's northwest coast, with Baseball Tasmania set to hold a come and try day at Burnie High School this Sunday, in the hope of starting a new league based in the region.
Which will incorporate areas from Devonport through to Smithton. We'll be looking at a senior competition, junior competition for ages 12 to 16, and then T-ball from, say, 6 to 11 years old.
And with the Hobart and Launceston leagues both growing in popularity, it's hoped the formation of a Northwest competition will lead to more statewide representative matches in the future. With Tasmanian basketball well and truly in the spotlight, Basketball Australia's new CEO has taken the opportunity to visit the state, outlining an ambitious new plan to make it the #1 sport within the next 5 years.
An opportunistic visit at a time when basketball is the talk of the town.
Tasmania is a really important part of the federation across Australia for basketball. We have a golden era happening in basketball across the country.
Unveiling the new Basketball in Tasmania 3-year strategic plan, one of the CEO's biggest priorities will now be chasing the state government for a bigger share of the funding pie.
It needs infrastructure, it needs courts, it needs facilities in order to be able to grow. And the aspiration for 20,000 people to be playing the sport by the end of 2023 is definitely achievable.
And NBL owner Larry Kesselman could prove a big part of the solution with his $200 million vision for the Derwent Entertainment Centre precinct, including the addition of more playing facilities.
We want to make sure that those courts that are provided are there for the community to access at all times, that it helps increase participation across the state as well.
Meantime, South Hobart coach Ken Morton says the club is ready to shake things up on the national stage after drawing a home game against New South Wales NPL club Marconi Stallions for next month's FFA Cup round of 32 clash.
Maybe have 1 or 2 weaknesses because they have slipped down the table of late, so obviously, if I can get enough information, we might be able to exploit some spaces and some areas and get that win we need.
The boys from Darcy Street face a more immediate test, however, travelling northwest tomorrow to play NPL ladder leaders Devonport, with a win crucial in keeping South's title hopes alive.
We have played well against them. We do push them hard, and tomorrow we're going to really have to work hard and try and get that breakthrough.
Tom Cooper, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening. Temperatures today range from -2 at Roos to the high of 19 on Flinders Island. Hobart 18, Launceston and Devonport 16, Burnie 15 degrees. St Helens and Grove 18, King Island, Roos and Strawn reach 17, Smithton 16, Friendly Beach is a high of 15. A combination of high and low cloud moved over the state today, mountain waves in the gaps. Now the cloud with a cold front is moving across the bight towards us, a second front to the west, and a cold air mass is moving over Western Australia. Low cloud is being generated along much of the east coast. Tomorrow the front is seen crossing Tasmania. A high pressure system dominates the weather pattern for the rest of the country. The wind's northerly and blowing up to 20 to 30 knots, lighter over the east coast and the inland lakes. We do though have a strong wind warning for all Tasmanian coastal waters with the exception of Bank Strait and Franklin Sound, a small craft wind alert for the central plateau lakes. And we have a flood watch that's been issued for all northwest, northern and northeastern river catchments. So a bit of rain on the way, 17 for Hobart, light rain developing, a top of 17 after 10 overnight, 15 for Medina with rain on the way, Oatland's the same, a top of 12. Launceston 15, possible heavy falls, 15 also for Devonport and 9 degrees for Lyowini, all expecting heavy rain, same for Burnie, 15 the top, and Strawn 15, Marrawar, possible heavy falls as well, 15 the high. 15 with rain developing over St Helens, light rain also for Swansea, 17 the maximum, 16 for Orford. On Sunday, showers again more frequent over the west and north, fresh to strong west to northwesterly winds. A few showers on into Monday, looks like missing Flinders Island though. And on Tuesday, morning showers contracting to the west and far south in the afternoon. And as we move on to the northern picture tomorrow, a little bit of a rain or patchy rain and showers for Perth tomorrow, 17 degrees. Adelaide cool and showery, 14 the top there. Patchy rain developing over Melbourne and Canberra, a sunny 21 in Sydney and showers up the Queensland coast. Cloudy and 14 over Hobart at the moment, 12 in Launceston, temperatures in double figures, this is great, partly cloudy and 12 in Devonport. That's it for now, Joe. Let me tell you, it's going to be wet tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
Good, you can stand in the rain and have a shower. Thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the team for now. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.